You had said before that Buddhism is not Buddhism.
Right.
Can you
Oh, you understand that,
trying to?
right? It's kind of like saying the Dharma that is no Dharma is the true Dharma. The Buddha is no Buddha is the true Buddha.
And does that apply to Hudaism? Or
Same
Hudism?
thing. The Huda is no Huda, is the true Huda, in a sense. And here I'm speaking in terms of the ear, right? Not the eye, but the ear. See, you have the eye heart and you have the ear heart. Heart to ear, ear to heart. Right? And that's the source of intelligence for many beings. Never hear it. And some can't hear the Dharma in the let's say, exquisite language of the Dharma as such, you know, the holy Dharma in a certain kind of high language, philosophic language, analytical language. People don't comprehend that. But their ears are open to the sound. You can feel the resonance in the music. They say, yeah, follow the music. Simpler. That means it's not up here. Here, the noise up here. So they hear it here. The ear, they feel it. And they move with that. The animals and the vegetation move with it.
And so does it also apply that, taste to heart or smell to heart?
Yeah, we're not talking about the taste to heart Dharma, we're talking about the Yud Dharma. So hearing to awaken. We're not talking about eating to awaken. If you can awaken that way, eat your heart out. If that's the way you awaken, eat up. Awaken already. Yeah, next.
So what is the unique quality of ear to heart?
Well, exactly that. Now look at the vegetables, look at the plants. You play the sound, they can hear it. Voice, they can hear it. Voice description, they can hear it. The animals feel the vibrations. We're talking about vibration, not just knowledge. Being vibration sensitive. The ear, hearing, resonance. The whales and the elephants, hearing. And dogs, hearing. Hearing, you can hear. But if you hear it, it's there. It's part of the spectrum of the wave, wavulations, cosmic wavulations, undulations, sound we can hear. The sound is the force and the power, silence, the divineness, silence. You don't have to hear it to be it. So the Huda gets to the people as the Dharma, because it's music. It's a musical version of heart wisdom, heart five sound wisdom. So many who would never even think of the Dharma per se in terms of the Buddha in India have come here to realize there was a Dharma because they heard the music. Music brought them in. They said, "Wow, what is this music saying?" That's a good question. What isn't it saying? It's a better question. And then, what are you being? Which is the next question. In any case where there's a question, say, well, what are you being? And people will say, I feel connected with the sound, but it's not an intellectual thing, so I can't read anything about it. It's not about my mind as such, at that level. It's a resonance, it's emotional, psychic, and it's psychic. And then the psychic is used then as a gauge to determine the age of a person. They can hear this music, they're pretty old. If you can hear this, you're pretty old. If you can't hear it, you're still young and you're still safe. You might still be in your innocence. This has a little bit of everything in it, so it's really for the older peeps. And so Rashi could hear it right away, because where he was at, Ravi could hear it, McCoy Tyner could hear it, and definitely Pharaoh and people of that stature can hear it. Not that they want to hear it, but they can hear it because they know what it is. It's the soul, say, the inner heart reality. See? It's indescribable, but it's very, very knowable. It's hard to describe, but to say no.
So would you call resonance a certain kind of awareness?
Resonance is intelligence. Yeah. Intelligence. Feedback. Feedback. So it's a way of knowing. Yeah. So it's an awareness, of course, but it's knowing. It's not just awareness of not knowing. Yeah. You have an awareness of not knowing anything. You have an awareness of knowing. And sometimes the emotions are first to tell you. And when you hear something, you can tell if it's real or not. You have a beginner playing through mechanical exercises. And you hear a professional playing it the way they should be played, right? All of the notes, and a certain degree of virtuosity, and then you hear Coltrane. So you hear the mystic side of the human intelligence, where you have a strange kind of synthesis of unconscious, conscious, and superconscious intelligence, which is what we're here to unfold into, ideally. Whether we call that Dharma or whatever, because everyone is the Dharma and everyone is the no Dharma. And there is the Buddha and there is the no Buddha, because there's all Buddhas. So we're talking about paradox. And the use of language that should be creative instead of, let's say, promoting ignorance and factions, and division and conflict and stupidity. So we need language to awaken everybody up if that's possible.
So would you say that resonance is simply one's response to vibrations?
Obviously, that's what resonance is. Something vibrating in accord with something else, resonating with it. Certain kind of attunement or out of attunement resonance. So because you have a resonance, you can't be around that. I can't be in a space, or I can be in a certain space you feel okay, comfortable. Sometimes that's ego comfort, sometimes it's psychic comfort. Sometimes it's spiritual comfort. It's not ego. It's not physical.
So in spiritual practice, are we, let's say, training our resonance, training ourselves to be resonant?
Yeah, resonate with the higher frequencies. Light, we're talking about light. We have sound, growth sound, and then there's light. And we hear that, and we feel it. We are light. But we don't dwell in the domain of light. In other words, we're not enlightened beings, we're not enlightened beings, we're not light beings, but we are. We are that. Basically, essentially we are the light being. We are the sound being, the light sound being, the sound light being. See, we are that, originally, potentially. But we're not living that. So we don't have the karma of what that is. So we don't live up to being it. See? Until we see that we can be it, because we were originally it, then we have an awakening. Say, wow, that's what awakening is. You were asleep to what it was all the time. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you say, wow, I've been this all the time. Wow. Now I can really be it.
So is the function of a master to help others develop their vibrational awareness?
I would say so, more than just have knowledge. And anybody can give you knowledge. So knowledge is like nickel and dime knowledge about this, that, whatever. So basically, most of it's on the web now anyway. Esoteric or whatever, it's not an issue. It's just knowledge is available to peeps. But then there's knowledge that can't be available to peeps, and then that's what the guru is supposed to make. Certain gurus or certain sensitive peeps will reveal that knowledge to you. Some psychics might be able to reveal knowledge to you to help you. And then certain teachers who have sensitivity. So it's not that they're teachers, they're not up here at all. It's not up here. There's a knowingness, it's native. It's coming from here. This is a circle here. And coming also down from here, but not coming from just here. Coming down through here, all right, and then circling. So in this way, coming out and coming in. Simultaneously. Heart beingness. There's no tradition. It's native. We enter it in and out, we go in and out of it. We enter it and we leave it because of our preoccupation with lesser important things and whatever. Things.
So are the students in a sense like sympathetic strings?
Whose students?
The master students.
Whose master students?
Well, yours.
Oh,
So we.
You mean my master's students?
Yes.
My master's students. Your students. It goes straight to him. I'm not in the way of seeing the master. Go straight. Hurry. Get up there as quickly as possible. Get what you can from that, and move on with your life. That's really what it is. Move on with your life. It's not about sitting there for comfort, wasting time. This is the burn. So the burn is like you got to hear it to learn it to do it. There's no time to waste. Your heart's burning up. Your heart is your body's winding down. Right? You're getting closer to it. The end point, the beginning point, the end beginning point, the re-entry point, let's say. Recovering the true sense of the subtle world. Fearlessly recovering it.
So the burn, in a sense, clears away the debris so that we can resonate more freely with...
That should be the case. That's a theory. The purification is what we're talking about. The heat. The practice is about the heat. Purification is about burning things off so you feel lighter. See, knowing what you need to burn off, see, get beyond, or throw off, let go of, see, to lighten yourself, enlighten yourself.
So does some of this show up, let's say, for a beginner in terms of an intuition, the resonance is an intuition?
Well, you can say that, or just a knowingness. You know it's it's the case, and at some point you're going to have to confront it. I think a lot of people know that. See, they're not ready for a certain kind of, let's say, monastic life, but they know they're related to it. Because everybody's private, monastic, introverted, monastic.
So in a sense, once the process is initiated, we're hearing with different ears, seeing with different eyes, and the same landscape now reveals other things to us.
Well, because we're really talking about working from the inside out, not the other way around, not from the outside in. Having the outside impact you or create your reality is one thing. Having a reality that you're using that you need to bring forward to impact this reality for better is another thing. Let's say they're all the same thing from another viewpoint. They don't exist, but let's say for the sake of people who are stepping up, yeah, it does exist. It doesn't. You can make a difference. You are making a difference. A difference is being made.
And so would you say that shock or catastrophe awakens one's resonance?
It can be jarred into you, of course. Yeah, definitely. Anything can do that. We're not saying it has to be dramatic, or traumatic. It can be. Sometimes you have to be banged off your heels and into a bed to start having a certain kind of recovering of your own sanity and what your purpose is, and what you're missing because of your machinery, your preoccupation with time-space games, see, business games, see, relational games, whatever it is, professional games. And you step out of it for a moment and you say, oh, wow, I should be loving my people instead of not. Maybe I should visit somebody in my family instead of not. Maybe somebody needs me instead of not. Being open to all of that as part of your service, not just your obsessive tunnel vision relative to your specialty, particularly, whatever that could be, but being open, like panoramically open to whomever and whatever needs what from you in a certain way, at a certain time.
So once one is open to the idea of moving forward and developing these things, what, if anything, could shut that off?
Well, things do. Time shuts it off. See? You shut it off. You turn it on and you shut it off. Others can try to shut it off for you. Depends on what your agreements are with the others around you. See? You can give them the power to shut it off and turn it on for you. See? Or you can take that power back, which is what could be done. Not to build the ego, but to give you an opportunity to be egoless. Now, that's a different twist.
So can one develop from a Buddha or a Huda and then let go of that entirely?
It doesn't exist already, but it is what it is, nevertheless, whatever that is. See? Yeah, it is. It's not something you do, it's something that is. If it's real, then it's an is. It's not you. Unless you is. So, and you do.
So would you say that at every moment we're either tapping into the real or the
Well,
non-real?
the real is using you nevertheless. The idea is to be able to cooperate with it consciously. So that is, you do not wind up as the lesser for it. Not that there's a greater in it, but it's a figure of speech. See? You want to have as much awareness as possible as you move forward into the next step for yourself. See? And that's the nature of the time-space world and what the path is. Everything is next, and it's happening already. See, this is next, and then this is next, and then this is next. Now we have to understand the nature of it. It's already disappearing as it's appearing.
Can resonance be developed by witnessing an example of it in someone else?
Of course, right. You see it around you all the time. In fact, your consciousness is perfectly assessing all of this continually, all the time. With all due respect to the fact that you have ego filters and you have ego preferences and design and everything else that we all have, machinery to the specific, to our particular preferences, right, and biases. So apart from that, yeah, the unconscious is also the superconscious. It's processing all of it. So you're never that far away from what it is, even if you say, well, that's not my style. The monastic's not my style. No, you are the monastic. You just don't know that. You are that. I say the yogic is not my style. You are that. Everybody is that. You realize that the more closer you get to it, you've always been it. You're just not as attentive and, let's say, responsive in the way that you are when you become a yogi, depending on what you mean by that. Like a hatha yogi is appreciating slowness and depth. Yeah. And then you have jnana yogi, raja yogi, and all these other types. You have bhakti yogi. Yeah. And they're, in each case, they are working with their qualities. Bhakti yogi with devotion. The emotion, see, and finding, let's say, the bigger picture through emotion. In this case, devotion to an ideal. Could be male, Krishna or Radha, a female aspect of the universe. Both, and then maybe neither. And it's all the same. The idea is awaken, regardless of religious or philosophic bias. Awaken to the reality that's at hand, which is pure beingness. Call it what you will. It's not about theism or atheism. It's beyond that. It's what is.
Would you say that what you're discussing is infinite potential and our, possibilities?
Well, nothing. Yeah, nothing. Infinite potential is equal to nothing. Okay. Perfect.